Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, why did I say that? Or maybe, why didn't I say anything? Then an hour later, you think of the perfect response. Or you replay the conversation in your mind and wonder if you overreacted or if you stayed quiet when you should have spoken. If you've ever experienced that, I'd like to teach you one simple meditation practice that can completely change the way you navigate difficult conversations. Hi, I'm Karen, and I've been practicing meditation for over 30 years and coaching women through relationship challenges for the last several years. Of all the tools I've taught, this one is the simplest and the most practical because difficult conversations usually aren't about finding the perfect words. They're about staying connected to yourself while you're having them. This tool has 3 easy steps: withdraw, anchor, respond. But before I explain those steps, I want you to notice something. Have you ever noticed that when you're emotionally hurt, every thought seems to support that hurt? Your mind starts collecting evidence. He always does this. Nothing ever changes. Why do I even bother? Or maybe your thoughts turn inward. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Or maybe this is my fault. When we're emotionally activated, our thoughts and our emotions begin feeding each other. And the longer that cycle continues, the harder it becomes to respond with wisdom. That's why this practice matters. It interrupts that cycle before it takes over. So imagine your partner says something that immediately hurts your feelings. Your heart starts beating faster. Your mind starts racing. And within seconds, you get pulled into the emotion of the moment. This is a moment where everything can change. And in that moment, you have a choice. Instead of reacting immediately, you can do one simple thing. That's step one: withdraw. In the meditation tradition I've been practicing for years, this is called the power to withdraw. It doesn't mean walking away from the conversation. It doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It simply means withdrawing your attention from the emotional noise for a few moments so you can reconnect with yourself. No one even has to know you're doing it. Just take one slow, deep breath, relax your shoulders, and feel your feet on the floor. Come back to yourself. Notice what I didn't ask you to do? I didn't ask you to solve the problem. I didn't ask you to decide who was right. I didn't ask you to figure out exactly what to say. I simply asked you to come back to yourself. Sometimes that's all it takes to begin seeing the situation a little differently. Step two is to anchor. So now we're going to return to what I call an anchor thought. An anchor thought is a spiritual truth that you practice when your emotions are pulling you somewhere else. This isn't just any thought, not a positive thought or an affirmation. It's a spiritual truth that doesn't change just because your emotions have. For me, that truth is I'm a pure and peaceful soul. For someone else, it might be I'm a child of God and He is with me, or God is my refuge and my strength. The words themselves aren't what matters. What matters is that your anchor thought reflects a truth that is deeply rooted in your own spiritual beliefs, and it reminds you of the truth of who you really are. I call it an anchor thought because that's exactly what it does. An anchor doesn't stop the wind, doesn't stop the waves. It simply keeps the boat from drifting. Your anchor thought does the same thing. It anchors you in your own truth while your emotions are trying to pull you away from it. And as you return to that truth, something beautiful happens. You create a little space, a space between the emotion you're feeling and the truth of who you are. That space may only last for a few seconds, but those seconds are enough. Enough to remember that you have a choice, enough to hear your own wisdom again, enough to respond instead of simply reacting. Step three is to respond, because only now do you respond. Now, not because the other person has changed, not because the conversation suddenly got easy, but because you've changed the place that you're responding from. You're no longer speaking from the first wave of hurt. You're speaking from something much deeper. People often notice the difference, not because your words are perfect, because your presence is different. So here's the practice. Here's the part that makes all of it work. Don't wait until the middle of a difficult conversation to use your anchor thought. Practice returning to it every day. Practice it while you're brushing your teeth, while you're waiting at a red light, before opening your email, before walking into work, or maybe even before you walk in your front door. Whatever we practice becomes easier to access. Think about when you learned to drive. At first, every moment required your attention: the mirrors, the pedals, the steering wheel. But eventually, you know exactly what to do without even thinking about it. Everything just becomes automatic. Your mind is the same way. The truth you return to during ordinary moments become the truths that are available during the difficult ones. So choose one anchor thought, not one that sounds impressive, one that is deeply true for you. Stay with it, return to it often, and notice what begins to change. Not just what you say, but how you feel while you're saying it. And if while you're feeling stuck between staying and leaving, I've created a free masterclass called the Sacred Clarity Method. It'll help you move from confusion to clarity so you can make a decision you can trust. Until next time, take care of yourself, okay?